About 20 teachers in the Western Cape have died after contracting COVID-19 since schools reopened last month. SADTU'S now joining many other unions calling for the immediate closing of schools across the country, at least during the peak of COVID-19 infections. The Western Cape still has the highest number of coronavirus-related deaths. Newzroom Africa's Athi Mtongana joins us live from SADTU'S regional office. Athi, a very good morning to you. A very concerning time as the tensions mount and really the emotional stress becomes even higher. And of course, we're learning of the second biggest union in the country, Naptosa, also backing SADTU'S call for schools to be closed. What are the latest developments there?
A very good morning to you, Mpo. Well, we know that in the Western Cape we have about 755 COVID-19 infections at schools across the province. And of course, some of them are active cases. But unfortunately, in this number, we have about 20 teachers that have succumbed as a result of contracting COVID-19. The latest being a teacher from a school here in the Western Cape, a grade 7 teacher who many teachers in the province have mourned, and many others who have passed away, about 20 of them. They have been calling, of course, for the closure of schools during this period, particularly because we are, as a country, facing the peak of coronavirus infections. They are saying that they are under immense pressure and immense stress. Remember, there are some teachers who have returned to school, and there are those that haven't returned to school because they are at higher risk, because of their age, and because they have pre-existing health conditions. And so those that do get to go to school in what the Basic Education Department calls a phased approach, they are experiencing immense pressure. And they have said that, fair enough, they do have personal protective equipment and social distancing in some schools, but the psychological impact and the pressure of working under these conditions is something that has not been looked at by the Basic Education Department. And there are many fears because we're seeing many deaths in this province related to COVID-19, even though these measures are being implemented. But we know that historically in many schools in the country, not only in the Western Cape, there is that issue of overcrowding, and it poses so many questions around this phased approach where learners are expected to come back to school in different phases. But hence again, we find ourselves in a situation where most learners in an ordinary situation without the pandemic are faced with overcrowding, and there's this issue now of social distancing and the issue of having only about 20 pupils inside a classroom. It's going to be very challenging, not only for the Western Cape, but for the greater country at large.
Now, one of the other reasons that SADTU has come out very strongly calling for schools to be closed again, they've said that they believe that there has not been effective teaching anyway since schools reopened, since the first grades returned to school in June.
That's correct, Mpo. In fact, a lot of parents here in the Western Cape have been getting communication from the school from various schools about how they should not return their kids back to school as a result of an infection that gets picked up sporadically, and then they get told to turn their children back and not return to school as a result of that particular case being picked up, and the school trying to react in trying to disinfect the school, telling the parents not to bring their kids back, and trying to sanitize the classrooms, and trying to obviously ask those particular learners in any of those classrooms where a COVID-19 case has been picked up to stay at home for at least 14 days. But of course, it ends up affecting the schooling. It ends up affecting the entire school. So if one case is picked up in one grade, the entire school is told to not return to school, and the pupils stay at home for the duration of, the school trying to ensure that they disinfect the classroom where the COVID-19 infection has been picked up. So that has been the trend throughout many schools here in the province, not only private schools, but we're talking about public schools as well, where parents are finding themselves in a situation where they're taking their kids back to school, but then they're told that if there's a case that's picked up, they shouldn't return their kids to school until further notice. And we know that the Basic Education Department has hit back and said that they will be taking legal action against any individual or any group that seeks to try and disrupt schooling at any school in the country. They have said that they don't have the powers as the Basic Education Department to stop schools immediately as called for by these unions. They say only Cabinet has the power to do so, and we know that there are various options. In fact, there is homeschooling that is provided according to Section 51 of the Schools Act, which provides that parents can actually choose to homeschool their children, but there are many challenges that have been creeping up throughout the implementation of this phased approach by the Basic Education Department.
All right, let's leave it there for now. Athi Mtongana giving us the very latest developments there when it comes to SADTU'S response, as of course they are calling for schools to be closed again as we head into the peak. About 20 teachers in the Western Cape have died after contracting COVID-19.